And good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for another Grand Prix here in the European Racing Series. I'm Ben Raggan McConnell, and joining me on the caster's desk is the rising star that is Kai Bacchini. How you doing?
I'm doing amazing, thanks. Ben, how are you?
I am fan-dabby-dozy. It is Hungary, which means it is a track that's really difficult to overtake, and realistically, you're only looking at one sort of area to do it on, and that is on the home straight. We've been seeing a lot of people going for it there in the diving into the hairpin. I guess, yeah, it's very much a hairpin into turn one. It's not as tight as some other hairpins I've seen, but you also need to get a really good solid exit because you need to run up to turn two. You can still have your final opportunity to nip down the inside and potentially get a position, but it's a tough one to pull off nonetheless.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough track to make overtakes around. But judging from the caliber of drivers we have here, I think we will see a good race.
100%. Speaking of caliber of drivers, we have 17 of these drivers in here, and a few of them are actually just showing so much pace nowadays. I'm looking at the likes of Jorn, who's just really taken off. Dan, who's also in there in that category as well. Jonty's had a bit of a hit and miss series over the last few races, but he has been someone you can rely on in the time of need. I mean, he's currently getting screwed over a little bit by all the other cars that are coming out of the pits, and he's been just pushed further and further back. But he is out there. His teammate, however, Beaker, has not had a good run so far in this season, and he really needs to figure out what's going wrong and fix it ASAP.
Yeah, Beaker has been struggling a little bit this. We know he has the raw pace, but he was looking hopeful. I was talking to him earlier. He says that he does kind of like the Hungary track, but he does struggle in areas. So what will we expect from him? That's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, I mean, I want him to do well. I've got a soft spot for Beaker. I mean, I've been very hard on him lately anyway, just purely because it's the sort of banter that we have with each other. But I do really want to see Beaker of old. If you remember back to F1 2018, he was someone that was actually really quite quick, and he was really putting in some good solid results. But now coming into F1 2019, he's just struggling. He's not quite delivering anywhere near the pace that I was hoping he would be. But all the things can change with just a little bit of practice, a little bit of motivation, and he's back into the pits already. So I'm not happy with whatever that lap was. But Kai, I'm going to ask you straight off the bat, actually, what is your top three prediction for the end of qualifying?
Ooh, put me straight in the deep end. Not in order. In my top three, I'm going to have Jorn, Jonty, and I don't know. I'll put Mark in the top three as well.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's actually a really good shout, to be fair. I mean, I was immediately thinking Jorn and Jonty, but I am also putting Dan in that list as well. He has really turned the wick up. I mean, I can't even really rule out Fred Gioco, to be honest. He's also stepped his game up quite considerably, and we're in a situation now where Fred Gioco is actually someone that could actually do really well in terms of points. I think at the end of this race, you might see him get himself into the top four, maybe even the top three if he's really lucky. But in terms of qualifying, I don't quite rate his qualifying as much as I do his race pace, so I am going to go with Jorn, Jonty, and Dan, and I'm actually going to put them in that exact order: Jorn, Jonty, Dan, 1, 2, 3, and well, they're out there now on hot laps.
Yeah, and I think, as you were saying, I didn't really see Dan on that list, but I think he will be a challenger for the top three. Pretty much everyone's out on the hards, but Ben, what do you think the strategy is going to be in this race?
The softs are not really a tyre you want to touch on this track just because of how much grip you require from the tyre. You really, really destroy it pretty quickly. So you are looking at sort of mediums to hards. Those that are going to go on the softs are actually going to be making a bit of a mistake. But then again, you are the sort of person who, if you're going to go, I mean, Lou's gone for it. Look at that. Lou, 1:17.603. Good time. Not the fastest we need to be. We expect way more than that. As it stands, but it's still very early doors. I do think anybody who goes on the softs is going to really struggle this race.
Yeah, and Max has just spun it and went into the barriers. Luckily, hasn't retired, but he is going to have to come into the pits and definitely get a new front wing.
Yeah, that's not good. Beaker's retired from the session. I don't know if I think he might have actually had a quali ban. I think that might be why he didn't put a time in. We would explain a few things. So no time for Beaker. Lou did a 1:17.603. Fred Gioco's done a 1:16.359, so a full second and a bit faster than Lou. Duxby out on track, he's done a 1:18.5. So look, where Jonty, Vexation, Muttley, and Jorn have all invalidated. And Dennis out there in a minute on a hot lap.
Yeah, let's see what Dennis can do. We know that he has quite a bit of pace. We know that he can set a good lap if he wants to, but will he be able to? Is the track Hungary, which is the track right now, will that track suit his driving style?
Well, I mean, at the minute, Dennis has had a very rough season, to be truthfully honest. Dennis has not actually been in any sort of position where he's been able to really gain anything. You see times where he does well, he's battling with other drivers, and he actually is able to really show some skill. But then, like now, for example, he just got a little bit overexcited there, and his back end kicked out, lost it, and you can see, look how he's attacking with the wheel. He just seems to be really aggressive with the wheel, and for some people, it's really good. For a lot of other people, I don't know, it can easily chuck the car into the bin, and I think Dennis just needs to find the right driving style that suits him and then really attack with it.
Yeah, I think that's the thing for a lot of drivers. Before they get fast, they need to find out their driving style, and I think racecraft is a big thing that affects people's driving in this game. As Maranello Baby has left the session, I'm pretty sure he'll get a invite straight away from his teammate. But I think that's the thing about this game. Racecraft can do a lot of things for you.
Yep, it's true. Right, here comes Absinthe. He's done a line. It's a 118.242. It's on the hards though. It's still nowhere near the sort of pace we're looking at, like for Spicy or Yonti, for example. We do still have just under 12 minutes to go, so we will be having an opportunity where the track will still evolve. And as it evolves, obviously the times are just going to tumble quite quickly, especially anybody who goes onto the mediums. We've got Mark out there in a minute on the mediums, currently on a hot lap, tearing it down the home straight. And this is turn 1. You do want to get on the apex just quite nicely, and there's another DRS activation zone there, straight away going for it. Nice solid exit, didn't really have any issues on the run through. Get hard round turn 2 and accelerate, not too early because you will lose the back end. Clip that apex there for turn 3, and now you're running up towards turn 4, 5. Very quick chicane, you can't afford to make any mistakes here like someone else has. The yellow flag there, that's a mistake. I think it might have invalidated, but it's quite fine enough to still keep going. Now 6 there, and that's 7 coming up for this chicane. Very tight one. You don't want to get on the inside curb, but you want to ride the exit curb and just power on out of it. Now into this left-hander, into another quick right. This is one where you don't actually want to be on the throttle, but you want to get early enough on it so you can really power down here. And he's backed out of this lap already. He's going to be resetting himself for another one. And yeah, not bad.
Yeah, it will be interesting. I think that was our race predictions. But it'll be interesting through quali because people can have an extent of quali pace, and then there's also race pace, which if you're consistent on your laps in a race, that can gain you way more than being high up in the field in quali.
Yeah, absolutely. So Mark back into the pits. Muttley on an out lap. Maranello Baby not yet able to do a lap time as it stands, and neither has Copy. But we have seen lap times from everyone else. Jon, 4 laps in, has done 1:17.905. It is slow. It's pretty slow. I'd expect him to have been a lot faster than this, but he just seems to be really, I don't know whether he's just biding his time, playing the strategy, or what he's doing. But he really has to pipe that time up if he wants to get onto the front row of the grid, especially. That's where we're predicting him. I mean, there was a time where I would never have even dreamed of putting Jon on P1. And now I'm like, well, if he doesn't get P1, there's something wrong with him.
Yeah, and to think he's around a second and a half off the time, but that time was set on softs and he set his time on hard. So if he goes on the mediums, I think he will be around the same pace as them.
Yeah, 100%. So Fragioco, currently fastest driver on track, like you say, has done on softs. 1:16.359 is the fastest time, with Jarislav behind him, 7/10ths behind actually, with Lou even further back than that. 1.3 seconds is the gap between Lou and Fragioco, and then it's the same amount for Spicy, who's on the hard compound tyres. So Lou, I can only assume, was doing a banker lap. Definitely expect a lot more pace from Lou overall. Duxby has now started a hot lap and on soft tyres. Duxby is actually someone that gets overlooked quite a lot. I've seen many a race where Duxby has actually been going wheel to wheel with people and coming out on top of it. Just lately, things have not been going his way, and I've seen this about a fair few drivers in here, but it genuinely is the scenario we're seeing.
Yeah, I think especially around a couple of tracks, drivers are strong around different tracks. So we may underestimate someone, and then little do we know they may be up at the front of the pack battling with the leaders And that always brings a surprise. And I think that's the good thing about esports. People can improve really quickly.
Yeah, they really can. Duxby has backed out of his lap, so something went wrong for him there. Didn't quite deliver. Fragioko's out again on another set of softs and is on a hot lap. There's Yonti getting nicely out of the way. This is the quick few corners. I actually really like these corners. This one's a pain sometimes, but if you get the acceleration just right out of it, it can be so good. And you don't even need to brake for this one. You just downshift and just turn in. You get so much extra time here. He's up by a tenth, almost 2/10. Locks up just a touch on the front right, but not really anything to slow his time down much. Now coming into this left-hander, runs a little bit deep. That's actually Dennis's teammate that's made a mistake there, facing the wrong direction. Still not holding Fragioko back. Still trying to get early on the throttle to accelerate hard out. And is he going to get himself into the low 116s? He is. So 116.248. It's a tenth faster, but he lost a lot in that the third sector.
Yeah, and he is 6/10ths quicker than anyone else on track. But Mark is on a hot lap on the softs. Let's see what he's able to do. He comes through the right, through the left, the quick chicane. That was pretty solid. I think he can carry a little bit more speed though. But this lap has looked so solid so far and very clean.
Yeah, no mistakes so far yet. But, oh, that might be the first one. Has it invalidated? I assume not. It's still in mode 5. Brakes quite nicely. Everything seems to be pretty smooth in Mark's lap. It's one thing that I like to notice when I see drivers is the way that they control the car. The car loves to be manipulated in such a nice fashion. You want to be like flicking it into corners. You want to be just smooth and silky with it. And that's why you're going to see Mark now put himself on the top step of the qualifying. He's now 1:15.951. That's 3/10ths faster than Fragioko, and it looked like it was a breeze for him.
Yeah, and I think he still has time to find on that lap as well. So I think he can get a low 15, mid 15 around that time. And I think that may be the pole position time on the soft tyres.
Yeah, potentially. I think we may have made a mistake, to be honest, both you and I. I think we may have overlooked him just a little bit more than we probably should have done. I didn't expect him to necessarily be in the top 3 at all, to be honest, and he's currently sat there fastest overall. 6 minutes remaining of the session, and I think with the fact that a lot of the drivers will be going for the medium compound tyre, I mean, you can see that the majority of them are actually sat in the pits waiting for their final push again on the mediums, but, you know, it's an opportunity to really go for it. It's another thing to actually properly deliver, and the pressure will be on as we come to the dying moments. We are not far away from what I like to call the calm before the storm, which is all the drivers prepping themselves for that final push. Someone who's not preparing for that final push is Vexation, because he's currently out right now.
Yeah, will he make it back into the pits on time? I think, depending on what tyres he's on, he may abort the lap and come into the pits, but it'll be interesting to see what he does.
See, I find it odd that he's out right now. He's out now on medium tyres with 5 minutes remaining in the session, right? The track has not yet fully evolved. This is not in its best position to be giving you the best time and opportunity and grip that you can actually go for. So, if Vexation decides to commit to this lap, I think he's going to be outside of the top 10. The alternative is that he comes across the line, quickly whips around again, gets into the pits, chucks on some softs, and then goes out again for one final push. But even then, if you go on the softs, you're in a scenario where you don't want to be there. You don't want to be on the softs on this track. It's yes, you can go softs to hards. I'm not denying that. But your pace is going to be so slow. It's not even worth it.
Yeah, and it looks like he hasn't backed out, and he will definitely not make it back into the pits on time and go back out for another lap.
But 1:16.724 is the time that Vexation chucks in on the mediums. That's a very respectable time considering the scenario and how early on in the session he is. Spicy's out there as well on the mediums. You see more drivers coming out of the pits also on the mediums. You got Marinello, Baby Duxby and Muttley all coming out to set their fastest times. Muttley's actually just started his, so we'll keep an eye out for those. And Yawn, for some reason, is still out on track. Oh, he's now in the pits. There you go. 8 laps done on his hard tyres. You can definitely say if he invalidates now, he's in trouble.
Yeah, with 8 lap hards, if he invalidates on his mediums, then there goes the start of his race.
Well, I mean, the only sort of saving grace that might work out for him is if he falls outside of the top 10.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to have to pray that he either does really well on the mediums and doesn't invalidate, bearing in mind he invalidated his first lap. You know, if he can deliver that time, then we're fine. There's nothing to worry about, and Jon will be up there, probably sitting P4 if he's going to do the mediums. But if he does invalidate, and stays in the top 10, starting the race on 8-lap old hards is going to be a nightmare for him.
But it does look like Spicy's going to cross the line as well. A lot of people have been pushing on these mediums early, but it's a P3 from Spicy, and that's a quick lap, a 10th quicker than Vexation, but he won't have time for another stint.
He might do. In fact, no, he will. He will if he wants to. I mean, he's currently out on mode 5 right now, which tells me he's either still going for another hot lap or he's just completely forgotten to turn his ERS off. I mean, on the medium tyres, a lap would be enough to turn the tyres on properly, and the out lap maybe not so much. So you might see him go again. Vexation's retired, so he's definitely not going again. And I don't think doing this extra lap would actually hinder Spicy too much, to be truthfully honest. The tyres are pretty decent. He will be able to be pretty aggressive. And even coming into the race, he'll still have more than enough tyre grip to be able to just carry on attacking.
I think the people we're watching out for on this lap is Jon and Jonty, both mid-pack to the back, and we'd expect them in the top 3.
Yeah, absolutely. Jonty's down there in P11 at the minute on the mediums. Just says a lot about how, his hard tyres were not very good at all. And when he comes to the hard stint, you have to ask yourself the question of, is he actually going to be able to maintain the race pace? If he doesn't, he's going to lose out massively, and this could be a potential podium that just falls away from him.
Yeah, and that would be really unfortunate, especially that he's been consistent in this championship pretty much all season so far. He's had some really good results, and it would be unfortunate to just throw a podium away like that.
Yep, it really would. Lou's retired, so P7 is the best that Lou could do, and that's on the soft tyre, so 117.1. So a little bit of improvement from where Lou was earlier, but P7 is the best we're going to see from Lou. So Jonty now coming around the final corner. This is probably going to be the one-shot wonder that he's gone for. It's not going to be pull, because pull was done on softs, but he might get himself above Spicy. He doesn't. It's just underneath, but it is crucially above Vexation. So Jonty P4, good start from him. Now where's Jon?
He is currently on a lap, and it is looking pretty feisty so far. He is absolutely going for this one. Ooh, a little bit tight to the white lines, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be fine. He is absolutely gunning it on this lap, pushing the car to its limits. He wants to be in that top 3, try and get my prediction as close to being right as possible.
I think we can ignore the soft runners realistically, because I mean, unless they can pull off some monstrous strategy where they go softs to hards, I think anybody who goes on the softs is going to be really in a bad way. I think even in the first few laps, I think you're going to see the mediums just take over, just because of how hard the softs disintegrate on this track. So keep an eye out for the likes of Spicy, Jonty, and Vexation, and potentially even Jon if he gets himself up there as well. I mean, he's looking good. Actually, he might even beat all of them. He does. Look at that. 1:16.407. That's the fastest medium time we've got. So my P1 prediction there of Jon, if you take the softs out of it, is bang on the nose.
I got 2 of my 3 right. Mark's lost it.
I can't remember who I said. Oh, Dan. So I'm watching Dan actually now, and he's coming up to the line. It's not the best time. 1:16.873. Actually, only 0.03 of a second off of Jurislav, who did it on the softs, so it would have been P7 realistically, but as it stands, that's not enough. Duxby crosses the line, does actually improve, and knocks Dan down into P9. And the only 2 people out there at the minute that could improve is Max, who's P13, and he's done a 1:17.8. Dennis, who's just crossed the line, has done a 1:19.0. So not quite the pace he's needing. And Max now, the only one left to go. Well, big tank slapper on the exit there. It does improve, but I think he might have invalidated actually. It's a P13 for Max. He will not be able to go any higher, but he does get free choice of tyres.
Yeah, Max will get that free choice of tyres. And that is crucial when it comes to the race. If you are outside the top 10, those fresh tyres, it can help you out a little bit. Depending on what tyres you choose, you can go for the longest stint and have the fresher tyres.
Yep, you can indeed. But here is your rundown after qualifying, with Mark taking the fastest lap with a 1:15.951 in P1. Raggiocco there in P2, the two soft runners, 1 and 2. Then you have the mediums, Yorn, Spicy, Yonti, Vexation, Duxby, and then you have the softs of Jurislav, Dan, Absinthe, Lou being best of the rest with Mutley, Max, Marinelli, Dennis, Copy, and then Beaker, who had a quali ban. So will be taking part in the race, of course, just won't be able to do anything other than start from the back. Now, Beaker will be going for a hard stint right off the bat, 100%. He's the sort of driver who will go for the hardest compound. If he gets outside of the top 10, will definitely stick to the hardest compound. Will then change his tyre strategy based on how well that hard stint goes. Now, it will. The worry I have is if Beaker suddenly decides, actually, I've done really well on my hards. I've actually taken these really quite far. I might go into the softs and just take them far as well. And then his whole race just goes to bits. If he does that, I'll be very disappointed. I'm hoping that he goes to the mediums because that's the best strategy, just full stop. And when he gets on those mediums, he should have such a good raw pace. We might even see him get up there towards the sort of P6 area.
And I really hope we do, because Beaker's a very quick driver. He's a very determined driver, and he's passionate about what he does. So, Ben, I'm going to ask you a question. How many places will Beaker make on the first lap?
First lap. Oh, it entirely depends on whether or not there's any contact on the first lap. If he can avoid it, which this is Beaker we're talking about, he's the magnet when it comes to getting involved in trouble. I think he'll jump to P14. I'm just worried that he's also going to get damage in the process of doing it.
See, you think he's going to jump 3 places. I think he's going to jump to 12. That's going to be my number. But who do you think is going to take the win?
Take the win. It's hard to look away from Yorn at the minute. His raw pace has just been exceptional, and especially in the race side of things, he's really been delivering. He's been so consistent. I've not seen him have any sort of wobbles, or he's not really caved under any kind of pressure. I've seen him being chased, and I've seen him chasing it. He's the driver that is really showing foundations to becoming a superstar behind the wheel. The only real thing I'm worried about for him is whether or not he can carry that through. He's got a lot to do, and eventually he's going to end up in the similar sort of shoes as like Lewis Hamilton in the official F1, where you do this so frequently, you make a mistake and people start doubting you, people start thinking negative things about you, and whilst that shouldn't hold you back, it's whether or not everyone can handle it, and it's whether Yorn can handle that.
Yeah, that is a problem with being consistent. You make a mistake, boom, people are on the back of you, and that does add extra pressure to being successful, but it's something that comes with it, and Yorn takes it incredibly well when it comes to racing.
Yeah, he really does. So here we go now. The driver's slowly coming around the final corner to finish off the formation lap. And as soon as they get in their grid boxes, we'll be getting underway with the Hungarian Grand Prix. But Kai, really quickly, 1, 2, 3, what are you going to get?
Yorn, Yonti, and Spicy.
See, I sort of understand what you're saying, but I mean, we'll have to hold on to that thought because the drivers are ready to go, the lights are on, and as soon as they disappear, we're going to be getting underway with the Hungarian Grand Prix, and immediately, there is absolutely no delay now. As you can see, Jon has already jumped Fragioco, gets such a good start. He's going to be looking for Mark in there, running in towards turn 1. Mark goes a little bit defensive to make sure that Jon cannot get the cutback on him. Actually, Fragioco's come straight back on him as well, but Jon's got better drive out the corner. Lots of shuffling further down. Beaker's managed to live up to exactly what I said, which is get it to P14. We're not at the end of the first lap yet. There is a little bit of touch and go further back as Lou and Dennis having a little bit of a scrap, but nothing further than that. Beaker's trying to go around the outside of Dennis, and now up into P13. Dennis runs super wide and immediately comes back onto the track. And so far, so good for the first lap.
Let's hope Beacon
never mind.
Say that.
Sorry, look at Lou. Off the track, made a mistake coming through turn 5, I believe that was, and just, yeah, look at that left end play, he's gone. So big, serious issues there for Lou to be starting in that position. Not good at all for the Alfa Romeo driver.
Yeah, it looked like he just caught the curb a little bit when he was coming out of the corner, obviously trying to carry as much speed as possible, and obviously just over-revved the car, caught the rear on the curb, and rotated at the car. It's very easy to do on that corner, and it's very unfortunate that it's happened to him.
Oh, Vexation's also having mistakes as well. He's just been passed by Absinthe, trying to stick on the inside of him, hoping that he can get an opportunity to get back that position. But no, Absinthe holds his nerve, make sure he doesn't make any sort of mistakes or any sort of wobbles. The exit here is crucial though. It doesn't have the slipstream ahead, but Vexation does. Vexation is really struggling for turning speed.
Yeah, and Beaker does cross the line in 12th on the first lap, so my prediction was. But Yawn, a 10th off of Mark, literally pretty much right under his bumper, and Yawn is looking absolutely rapid on these mediums.
He is, and it's great to see that he got such a good start on the home straight. There was no hesitation from him. He just bolted off, and Jerislav's really falling down the order. In fact, let's take a look at the position changes. So the biggest winner so far is Beaker, who started dead last, remember. Managed to jump up a few places on just the run into turn 1. Oh, Vexation's gone. Oh, that's a big crash there as well. That is disaster for Vexation. Safety car's out, so the safety car has been deployed. Lap 2. That's... Oh, Lou's trying to get around the outside of the safety car. Has managed to do it. Mark's got a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. Oh, no. So race leader has just been dealt a severe blow. That is... I mean, you wanted to go to the pits anyway, but you don't want to be serving a drive-through. So these guys that are on the softs have just been dealt a massive lifeline where they can get off these softs, get onto the hard compound tyre. Mark's probably going to end up having to... just carry on going. I think he may serve his drive-through here. Oh no, I can see his res engineer has just come out. So he will be doing this pit stop. I don't think he can serve a drive-through under the safety car.
He's put mediums on.
Yeah. I think that's a mistake, to be honest. I think that's a big mistake. You want to get on the hards, do your serve your drive-through, come out again, and then, I mean, yeah, you're going to be dead last, let's be truthfully honest, but the safety car will sort of help you keep your position as it stands. You just won't be able to serve your drive-through until it comes in. When it comes in, immediately serve it, don't hesitate, then just try and race recovery. Mark has the pace to do that, but Yawn is just looking too good right now to ignore.
Well, Yawn Yonti, and where has Dan come from? He's in 3rd position now.
How many places has he gained? 6 places. I mean, Beaker's in P8, by the way. I mean, yeah, he's been gifted a few places because of the fact that everybody's gone into the pits following the safety car. But he is on the hard compound tyre, remember. This is the perfect strategy for Beaker. And this is not the first time I've seen a safety car save some drivers that are outside of the top 10, that bring them really into life here. Beaker is going to be loving life right now.
Yeah, and I think especially being on those hards, he can still go as long as some of the people, still longer than some of the people that have maybe went on the mediums under the safety car. He can go longer than them and still outrun them again.
Yep, indeed. So we're seeing, obviously, the first full lap of the safety car now. We might see it come in, not the end of this one, but the end of the next one, I believe. We'd definitely know if it was going to be coming in. So the sort of situation you got to be thinking is now Lou out on the soft tyres. 1 lap in, Dennis doing he's actually just chucked himself into the pits. So, interesting. That's a fresh set of softs that he's just come out on. He's going to now change. Is that going on hards? That looks like hards to me. So hard compound tyres going on to the Ferrari. This is key. This is actually really smart by Dennis. Then now the thing he has to worry about is making sure he keeps his head cool. If he makes a mistake, can't let it affect him. Only has to keep it consistent. Once he gets on the mediums, he can be a little bit more aggressive and start really trying to push some times in. But the hard stint is the most crucial one, in my opinion.
Yeah, especially with Dennis, he's now last by 10 seconds. You have to catch up the car behind on those hard tyres. He's definitely going to have to make a couple of places up to try and gain some ground that he's lost. Yeah,
100%. So obviously he is just come out of the pit lane and he's on very, very, very cold hard tyres. But that's the safety car. That's the back of the safety car queue right there. So he's already not lost anything throughout doing that other than he's now dead last, which in terms of position changes is only 1 place lost. So he's not, again, from the start of the race, he's just reset himself. He's been able to recover quite nicely I just want to see how these front runners are going to pull away. They have all of the start is entirely dictated by Jon. Has to get the exit straight away through the final corner so that Jonty can't slipstream chase him down it. And as you can see in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, safety car is in this lap. So Jon is going to be back in the pack up, preparing themselves for the attack now. He has full control over this, how this works out. And quite often we see under safety car conditions that a car will hit into the back of another car and maybe get a penalty if it gets caught out trying to accelerate a little bit earlier. So all eyes on Jon right now. The focus is on it. He's got the pressure down. He's going for it now. This is the line he needs to take. He has to be fast out of here. Jonty tries to do the same thing. Jon's done a very good job of getting away there. And I'm not seeing any mistakes further downfield. I want to just quickly take a quick peek at it to see how Dennis is going to fare on the fact that he's on these hards. He's trying to size up Lou. Max has actually got a move done on Maranello, baby. There's a little scrap going on between the two of them, but he's on the inside. He's got that position done. Max now up in a P9. Maranello, baby's got the inside, actually. Coming in towards turn 2. Gets a little bit wobbly, and that's actually allowed Copy to come round the outside of him, potentially sizing him up. But as it stands, no. And Jon will still remain race lead after the safety car restart.
Yeah, but Jonty, he is trying to size him up for an attack. He will be looking to make that overtake because, especially with them both trying to do the same, kind of the same strategy, I think you do want to be the first one into the pits.
Yeah, they definitely... The thing is with this track, the undercut is huge, especially if you're going to be trying to pull off an opportunity. The downside to doing the undercut is if you don't pull enough of a gap, you immediately have the driver behind you hunting you down. The only saving grace you have is that this track is really hard to overtake. It's only down the home straight that we can actually pull it off, unless the car in front has made a big mistake, and then you can just slip on by. Like you can currently see, if you go down to P12 at the minute, Mark is trying to get past Copy. We know Mark has the pace, but having to serve the drive-through penalty, which is what he's doing right now, that means he's going to have to go again. And Jonty's just set the fastest lap, which tells me Jon's in trouble, and you can see it already. He's looking down the inside, just sort of faked him out a little bit. Jon still holds race lead for now, but we haven't got DRS enabled yet.
Yeah, and when DRS is enabled, I think Jonty's going to be all over the back of Jon, and Jon's going to have to try and cover all of the tracks that Jonty's trying to go on.
Yeah, exactly. So, Jon race lead still, with Jonty chasing him. Dan in there in P3 has really climbed his way up the order. Spicy P4 doing a solid job with Duxby in P5. Absinthe P6, Muttley P7, and Beaker, who has started from dead last, is now up to P8 and on the hunt for Muttley ahead of him.
And Spicy does look like he's struggling with his fuel, or does he know something that we don't?
I think he's gone for the underfueling strategy, which on a track like this is actually not that bad a deal. You don't need... there's not a lot of areas where you need to just be super fast coming out of corners. You know, you can just maintain a decent pace and chuck yourself in lean for quite a lot of it, recharge your fuel that way. So I think Spicy is more reliant on these ERS. We're going to see whether or not that is the case soon enough. But now that the leaders are going to be crossing the line, that means the DRS has been enabled now. And this is now an opportunity. More time's just being thrown in there. And I'm excited for the attacking opportunities.
And yeah, especially with DRS now, Jonty is definitely going to be looking for an overtake. But he doesn't get it out the corner.
No, you won't get it just yet. It's there's only one detection line for those first two DRS activation points. So you won't be able to get anything more than that. But I am watching Absinthe trying to size up Duxby B. Duxby B has had an awful restart. 1.5 seconds, 1.6 seconds. Oh, that was a bad move there by Absinthe. Absinthe needs to find a way to get past so he can start making his way towards Spicy. But this battle for P1 is a four-way battle. And I don't think it's going to be changing anytime soon.
No, I think the order that we have right now is a pretty solid order. But Jonty, he won't want to keep it this way. Ooh, that's very wide from Jonty. Just trying to overcorrect the car and runs over, nearly clips the barriers, but luckily doesn't and keeps on track.
Yeah, indeed. Right, now this is the crucial bit. This is the one that's very important. This final corner. Yeah, we've got plenty of laps to go, so even if he makes a mistake here, he's not really going to have too many issues. But the DRS line is there, so he's been able to activate it. But half a second is the gap that he's currently got to Jon. The long straight up to P1, up to the first turn, sorry, is substantial enough to be able to make a move if you've got around about a 4/10 gap. But if you're a little bit over that, you have to just sort of wait for this moment here. But it's just too far back. The run to turn 2 is really short. Oh, Jon's made a bit of a wobble there. That's actually an opportunity for Dan to get in there. But nope. Jon holds on, and Jonty's just going to have to sit behind him for a little bit.
Yeah, but look at the difference in ERS between Jonty and Jon. Jonty has absolutely dumped his ERS. He's got 20% left, and Jon's still got 70% left of his ERS. Way more conservation going on there from Jon, and Jonty definitely struggling with ERS.
I think Jonty's worried, to be truthfully honest. I think he's more worried about the fact that Dan behind seems to be very quick. It's very strange that we are in a scenario where Jonty has actually burnt so much ERS, because it's usually the car that's chasing should be able to conserve the ERS a lot easier because of the fact that you've got slipstream, you've got DRS, you don't have to worry about any of that, right? But Jon, I don't know, he just doesn't feel threatened, and a comfortable Jon is a very scary Jon.
Yeah, and a very quick one as well. But you can see he's mode 5 out of the corners, and he'll be mode 4 trying to gain as much. You can see he's got 10% ERS left, and Jonty, he's not in a good position right now.
I mean, he's got the opportunity now to close up a little bit. He's chosen for mode 3, but yeah, he is just destroying his ERS battery. And you got, again, look at Jon, 72%. He's been in mode 0. He's flicked up to mode 3 now, and he's already starting to pull a little bit of a gap. But again, does not have to worry in the slightest. This is the opportunity for him to just take off. Just enjoy yourself. You don't have to do anything more than just cruise around Hungary.
And yeah, that's one experience you can do. Cruise around Hungary in the lead. You can't complain about that one. But Jonty, the one thing he'll be complaining about is his ERS level.
Well, not even just that. He's also got to worry about the car behind him. You know, you've got the Toro Rosso in front of you, Toro Rosso behind you. You are the Haas sandwich here, and it's a situation you don't want to find yourself in, is the race leader being able to pull away from you and the guy behind you being able to catch up to the back of you, and you're sat there in a position where no matter what you chuck down, no matter what you're doing to try and deliver, you are just not able to make it. Ultimately, he needs to flick his ERS mode up now. If he wants to get into the race lead, which in my opinion would be suicidal, he needed to move it up to mode 3 so he could close up just a little bit more in the run up towards the final corner. And now he's in the final corner, he's just dumping it. Look at it just disintegrate. It's down to 19%. He's closed up to bring himself about 4/10 in this. But Jon just gets a better exit, takes off again, and look at it, 6/10. It's going to be up to about 6.5. Now he's managing to reel it back in again with the DRS, but again, nothing. Absinthe though, looking for an opportunity here with Duxby. It's wheel to wheel going in towards turn 2. Duxby's on the inside, Absinthe on the outside, but Absinthe can't hold the pace alongside of him. Duxby manages to hold on to P5, and Absinthe now is he's just trying to get past as quick as possible.
And again, another driver, Duxby B's got 14% ERS. A lot of these drivers have been pushing hard on their ERS, and they're going to struggle in the long game.
Yep, they really are. It's not something that you wanted to be in a situation where that ERS is so low. It's not really a track that you need to properly chuck it down. You can actually just sit in mode 0 for majority of it. And if you look at Absinthe right now, he's 0 and then he's gone to 1 and he's just prepping himself for when he needs to go on the aggressive, which isn't until you go onto the home straight. So just relax a little bit, you know, put yourself in standard fuel, put yourself on 1 ERS, maybe 0 if you're really struggling. And then look, this is what you need to do. Look at Absinthe, mode 5, right? This is what I was saying about Jonty, mode 5, in towards the final corner, so that when you come round here, you're already close enough to be able to attack. Get the wing wide open. You're already now in mode 4. He's got the slipstream that he's been fully utilized, and he's just going to slingshot down into the inside. Although he's chosen the outside for this one, this might be a mistake unless he goes for the cutback, which he has done. Duxby trying to hold a tight line. This might be a mistake here from Absinthe. He could have gone for the inside dive. Chose not to do it, and Duxby holds on and starts to live for another day. Something's happened to Dan.
Yeah, and the person who's struggling most with ERS now is Beaker. He's had an amazing start. He's up to 8 from last, but he's got 20% ERS, and down the straights, it's below 10.
Yeah, it's a shame. Not really an area that you want to be in, to be truthfully honest. I'm going to be keeping an eye out here for Absinthe and Muttley, because Muttley's now on the back of Absinthe. And this is the sort of problem you have if you don't make an overtake happen soon enough. You end up stuck behind that car, which then gives the car behind an opportunity to close in. It doesn't matter how fast you can be, it's about how fast you are being. And if you're not being quick enough to get past the driver and really go for it, then you're going to find yourself under an attack situation, which is happening right now. Muttley's right there. Beaker has the opportunity to just close in out of nowhere. And yeah, you might be on the soft compound, but it's all going to mean nothing if you don't deliver.
Yeah, and again, ooh, Beaker with a little bit of a slide out of the corner, and that did unsettle the car. And the car's not liking that one. And again, you can see now he's trying to preserve a bit more ERS. Lulu, a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That's really unfortunate. He's currently down in last position, so it won't affect where he finishes. But that's unfortunate because we know that he has quick pace.
In some tracks, yeah, this one doesn't seem to be the one. We saw Lou trying to do the soft tyre qualifying. It didn't work out at all. And overall, just struggling left, right and centre. Onto the hard compound there, so might be able to do something about it. I am seeing Duxie B coming under attack from Absinthe. But I am seeing the gap for P1, P2 really teetering on the edge. Yon's actually pulling away.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to head off for my league race now. But thank you so much for the commentary again. And ooh, Duxie B having a bit of a moment, and so was Beaker. But that's a good way to end it. And I'll see you later.
Yeah, good luck in your league race. I'll see you shortly after. I'll be taking it solo from here.
Cool.
See you shortly.
See you. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Right. Well, now we need to go back up to the front. And this is what I was saying earlier. Absinthe didn't get past Duxie B in time. Duxie B's really made a mistake and fallen down the order, but you're actually seeing now Absinthe just slingshotting past, and Beaker's trying to get involved in it. This is a three-way battle going in towards turn one. I did not expect Beaker to get involved in this, purely on the basis that the hard tires are just not liking it too well, and he's getting attacked there from Absinthe. Now he's trying to get down the outside again. There's lots of mistakes, and Beaker's got off the track. That is not how you want to be getting through that corner, but he just gets shoved a bit wide. He will be tilted from that. Now needs to try and maintain his composure, bring himself back into this. He's done such a good job so far. He's only lost one place overall since that battle started, and it's not over yet. He's still got tons of opportunity to bring it back. He's not even yet started his second stint. Duxie B's in the pits, Mark's in the pits again. So I think that's the third pit stop. Well, if you count the drive-through at least, that's the third pit stop. Marinello Baby is P8, Max P7. And that was a really interesting little scrap there. I was expecting it to get a little bit more filthy than that. Absinthe has ran seriously wide now. Muttley trying to close in onto the back of the Red Bull driver. Absinthe has been on the attack for such a long time. Now suddenly he's on the defensive. It's now a question of how does he defend from this. I'm not sure how he can do that. He doesn't really have the ERS levels to protect himself. Muttley has more than double what he's got currently. Yonti's gone for the undercut. Spicy's gone for the undercut as well. Absinthe now in trouble, realizes it, goes for the inside line, trying to defend it. Slipstream of DRS is being so effective on this track, especially in the run in towards turn one. You can see that Max is trying to get involved here as well. You can see the Williams on his left. That's a little bit of a teleport back. That's sad news for Max. He's not going to be able to do anything here. Muttley might size up Absinthe down the inside, especially if Absinthe has a little wobble, and he has. This might be Muttley taking it round. No, he's backed out. Allowed Absinthe to just hold on for now. And the top four are the medium runners, remember. They will be coming into the pits in the short while. And I'm not sure what he's going to be able to do about this. Max still there, though. Dennis further down in P2. Ooh, that was a little wobble there for Max. He needs to be careful he doesn't lose the car. This could very easily end up with Max being DNF'd again. But he's kept it together. These hard tyres have really come to life now. And you can see that everything is just sort of piecing it together for all of those outside of the top 10 who started on the harder stint initially, and he's going for the softer stint soon when they get onto the mediums. But I don't know what Muttley can do about this now. He's just really stuck here. He can't pass Absinthe. He hasn't worked out how to do it. Race leader's in the pits, and now we're about to see where Yonti is. Not quite close enough. I think Yorn has done more than enough to secure that position. Muttley's coming round as Absinthe is into the pits. Muttley's staying out. Obviously the hard runners will be staying out as well for a little bit longer. Probably going to around about lap 20, maybe 21 if they need to do a little bit safer. But the mediums will go much further. It's just obviously these guys have qualified on them, so the wear is a lot more severe for them. Beaker there close enough to get onto Marinello Baby. If any of these in front make a mistake, it's a lovely little scrap that's going on for P2 in a minute. Dan is just so far ahead as it stands. Jon has come out ahead of Yonti still, but I mean, the undercut sort of worked for Yonti. he has brought himself back into this a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's not ideal to be in the situation that he's in. Jon's still, though, loving life, hasn't yet had any real issues. He's not had a wobble, not had any penalties, not had any scares. He's literally just cruising. This is such a nice feeling to see Jon doing so well. Dan has got to be the one, I think, that really delivers something exceptional here. But the undercut is so severe. Maranello Baby's made a mistake. That is a Mercedes car over to the inside wall. Any damage? Yep, that's a right end plate that's missing. So Maranello Baby might want to pit. But the problem is mediums won't go that far. Dan, though, he's in the pits. He's going to be switching over to the hard compound tyres in a second. Muttley getting a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That is not ideal for the Williams driver. His teammate Duxby had a big off earlier, so he's fallen right down the order. Jonty, fastest driver on track on the hards right now. Spicy's just beaten that as well. 119.632. There goes Muttley. Is he actually going to come out in front of his teammate? Yeah, easily ahead of his teammate. Not even a whisper of whether or not that was the case or not. Baker in P3, closing up towards the back of Fragioko. Remember, Fragioko started a lot higher up than you think. He started in P2. Fragioko is under attack from Baker, and realistically, they're on the same strategy. Fragioko had to pit when the safety car came out so he could get off the softs and get onto the hard tyres. So whilst this is working out well for Fragioko, as it stands in P2, when he pits and goes onto the mediums, he's going to have a lot of work to do. We're talking about the guy that started dead last is currently stood on a podium step right now. Yeah, I mean, when he pits, he's not going to be in that scenario, and Fragioko's just got a penalty, so that's not going to help his cause either. But you've got to be worrying if you're Fragioko. Especially with the fact that the gap is actually slowly but surely coming down for BK. He is finding a way to get involved on that Ferrari. He's going to have DRS on the home straight. He hasn't really got a lot of ERS to work with. I mean, Fragioko's got tons to work with, and Max only a little bit further ahead. 2 seconds almost is the gap between Max and Fragioko. But Bika is just doing enough to bring himself closer and closer, keep the aggression going, keep the attack going. Durislav is under attack from Dennis. Dennis is not able to do anything. Jonty and Jon are actually scrapping. This is for net race lead, remember. Jon manages to just keep his nose ahead. Jonty's got the DRS, he's got the inside line. This is going to be a feisty battle going through, but he just runs a little bit deep. Jon holds it around the outside, and such magnificent defensive display there from Jon, holding on to net P1, but he has to be worried now. This is the time that I was talking about before, where when the pressure is applied, he needs to be able to keep it under control, keep himself contained. Can't afford to lose anything, because if you do, you're just going to end up crumbling. You're going to end up losing the podium position. You're going to end up with penalties, and it's just going to go downhill from there. And Dan's trying to get into the back of Maranello Baby. You can see he's just under 3/10 being the gap. Fresh hards on that car, so really the opportunity to attack is now. The concern, though, is Maranello Baby is just right in the way. Dan can't get past, and he's losing time here. Needs to just bolt it down the inside. Might go for it here. You can see the opportunity. He's got this. It's going to be wheel-to-wheel throughout the entirety of it. Maranello Baby just surrenders it, especially with the wing damage. There's not more that he could do. And yes, good stuff there from Dan to be able to close up. Makes a mistake, though. That's Maranello Baby, sorry, made a mistake. Spicy just slipped on by. Might have been team orders that played a factor there, but Bika lost a fair bit of time on that lap to Fragioko, it must be said. Has now fallen to about 6/10. He fell to about 8/10, excuse me, and has managed to recover it down to about 5.5. So he's slowly but surely bringing it through, but seems to be turning everything off going through sector 2 and 3. That when it comes to the home straight, he's using all of his ERS to close it up, and it's not working out for him. Look, 12%, 10%, 11%, sorry. And yeah, it's not working out. Beacon needs to find a way to charge it and still not dump it all on the home straight to make up the pace. Whether or not he just chooses to go full rich revs and turn the ERS onto mode 0 or mode 1 just to charge it is a different story. I think that's probably the ultimate strategy for him, is to do that. But Ibika still in a good position, can't take anything away from him. If you look at the position changes, he's currently the biggest winner right now. 14 places gained, and there's still a couple more places to gain on that. I mean, there is a close second there with Max and Copy both tied for 12 places gained. I mean, the biggest loser, sadly, is Mark, who mainly had that due to that drive-through penalty he had when the safety car came out, and Jon has managed to get past Dennis relatively simply. There's also Jonty trying to capitalise on this as well. This is actually quite crucial, because if Jon can hold a car between him and Jonty, sorry, then this will be really bad news for Jonty. Great news for Jon, and a big wobble there from Yonti means he's not going to be able to attack Dennis throughout this. That's a big loss for Yonti now. He needed that exit to be perfect in order to capitalize, but the one thing is going for him now is that Dennis is trying to scrap with what is net P1. He makes a mistake on the exit. Yonti's trying to capitalize, and it's actually rescued Yonti really well here because he was going to lose out massively. He was almost outside of DRS on Yawn. It's just now that Dennis has slowed down and they're driving a wide car, there's nothing Yonti can do about it. Just trying to push himself to close up. And needs to find a way to escape past that Ferrari so that the Toro Rosso of Yawn doesn't just disappear into the sunset. If that happens, that's the end of Yonti's race chances for the win. It's not good news. There is a little scrap going on down the back. You got Mark coming up towards the back of Lou at the minute. 6 laps in on these hards. Managed to recover his race a fair bit into the back of Lou, but still not enough. Considering he was P1 at the start of this race, to be now down all the way into P16 is just really quite sad, to be honest. It went from bad to worse to downright horrific. And that's why he's all the way struggling throughout the entirety of this. Yonti's still on the attack, still hasn't got past Dennis. The main worry that I have for Yonti is that he's now outside. Dennis is outside of the DRS range of Yawn, and Yonti still cannot pass Dennis. He's going for the outside line, though. That was a tough one to try. Might go for the cutback. Not quite got the turning capabilities to do that. This is just a nightmare for Yonti. He can't get past Dennis in the slightest. We're seeing drivers that pit on the hard tyres. Beaker did it a lap earlier, and he's actually jumped Max Copy. He's just jumped everybody. He's now, what is that, P5? P6 potentially? I mean, Dennis is obviously going to pit. Fragioco is going to pit. Everyone else ahead of him doesn't need to pit. Yonti's still trying to fight him. Made a big mistake there. That's actually brought Dan right onto the back of him. And look where Yawn is. 2 seconds clear of Dennis already. This is what I was saying. Because he took so long, and he still hasn't done it, to get past Dennis, Yonti has lost out tremendously. And he's almost a second now behind Dennis. Bearing in mind, Dennis is 18 laps in on the hards, whereas Yonti is only 6 laps in. So it's not like the tyres have just disintegrated and he's struggling. He should be flying right now, and he just isn't. Dan is, though, and he's already sizing Yonti up, ready for the home straight battle. Has so much more ERS than Yonti. The Haas drivers overall have been struggling with this issue. And here he comes, Dan. Double slipstream effectively, because he does have the Ferrari ahead. Hasn't chosen to go for mode 4. He's just trying to use the DRS and slipstream to just close it even closer than before and get ready for another push. Beaker sets the fastest lap of the session, 1:19.327. This man is on fire, and this is exactly what I want to see. Dennis is still 12 positions gained, so he is going to be the biggest winner as it stands, but when Beaker gets an opportunity to just go for it, he will. And he's going to gain a place or two at least. 2 seconds though off the back of Abson. I've seen some penalties, but I've not seen enough to work out who is in trouble. I don't think many are. Dan 3/10 behind Yonti. Yonti 2/10 behind Dennis. Dennis 3.5 seconds behind what is net race leader Yawn, who's currently at P2 and actually only 2 seconds behind Fragioco. Yonti runs deep. That's not good for him. Dan. Oh, he almost ran into the back of him. There's a little bit of a touch there between the two of them, but they kept it together. Yonti still stays P4. Dennis holding Yonti back just about. Yonti cannot dawdle any longer. He has to deploy everything right here. He's gone for mode 5 because he knows this is the crucial area. Get the exit out of this corner. You've got the gap already down as low as you need it to be. You've got the DRS and the slipstream. You've got mode 4 engaged on your ERS. It's now just purely send it down the inside, but he's chosen the outside line. He's trying to make it round the outside. This is not the area to do it because Dennis can just put you in the dirt, and that's why Dan slipped through, because he saw the inside, knew exactly what was required. Dan's now jumped Yonti. He's made a mistake, though. Yonti just slips on by again. This is a beautiful battle that's going on, but Dan's managed to just nip it back. P4 for Dan again. So Dan now net P2, and this is a really solid result for the 2 Toro Rosso drivers. I don't know what Yonti now can do, because he's just burnt so much ERS away here that Dan is just in such a great shape. Can just carry on doing what he's doing. Doesn't even have to worry. He's got Dennis in his way, and he's actually going to give Yonti a little lesson in exactly how you pull away. And you can already see, like, I mean, the gap's very marginal. It's 4/10, but every time I'm looking at Dan, I'm just seeing him go further and further and further away. And so much, in fact, that Dan's actually trying to beat Dennis through that little section there. It's not worked out. It's actually brought Yonti right into this, and Yonti's going to be seeing a window that's just opening slightly. Not yet opened enough for him to go for it. Spicy's also involved in this. He's right now on the back of this four-way battle. Dan has an opportunity to properly send it. He's going to try and do that. Yonti is falling away. Spicy is bringing himself ever closer. And Dan's looking for the inside. He knows how important the inside is, and there's contact between the two. Dan's had a little bit of wobble. He's trying to drift around the corner. He's held it just about, but Yonti's coming back at him in the running towards turn 2. This is where Yonti needs to try and maintain it throughout the outside. He can't. Dan runs a bit deep. Yonti's looking for the cutback. It doesn't work here because the next corner you'd be on the outside, and that's why Dan is still P4 despite making a mistake. But Yonti's not backing out yet. This is a really tough area to go. Too wide between them. They're still battling. They're still okay. But Dan stays P4. This stuff is just getting insane. There's also a battle further down as Muttley's made a mistake. Big off there from Muttley. Has a serious wing damage. Runs right off into the wall. That would have absolutely been a DNF if that was in real life sort of situation. But Muttley lives to fight another day. He's going again. Does have wing damage, but he can still maintain a position or two. If he can push a little bit, maybe get his car properly going for it. I mean, Beaker has really lost out there. He's down in P9. He's got damage. The left end plate has just gone from him. I can only assume he was involved in a battle with Muttley, but we didn't see it because we were so distracted with the battle that was going on for P4. And look, Jarislav just slipping on by. Ultimately, Beaker needs to pit, change himself over to the soft tires, and just try and make up anything he can do now. Maybe take away, yeah, look, he's going for it. He's either going to retire or he's going to switch to softs. This should not be a retirement because he can still go for it. Oh, big mistake there from Dan. That was not what you want to see. He's really fallen down the order. That was a Toro Rosso driver, I'm sure of it. Yeah, was it? Or was it Absinthe? I think it was Absinthe. I think Absinthe just got a little bit excited. He fell down the order. Dan's actually okay. He's still P4, which is net P2, essentially. Spicy's managed to get ahead of... oh, he's got a penalty there. Now this is where things are going to get a little bit awkward. I honestly don't know how they're going to maintain it. Absinthe gets a penalty as well. I think he's had a couple now. So he's going to be struggling. Spicy, this is someone you can rely on to really live up to his name and spice this race up even more than it already is. The gap will get closer between him and Dan, and the way that Dan's been flicking it through and running deep and running wide is just sort of suggesting that Spicy will be in a position to attack on the home straight. The only thing that's working out better for Dan than it is for Spicy is that Dan has a lot more ERS to work with. So much more, in fact, that he's a good 30% up. But it doesn't matter about how much is in the tank, it's about how you deploy it. And now you're in a situation here where Spicy, 4.5 tenths is the gap between him and Dan. Dan, yes, he has the DRS. It's not going to be an opportunity to attack just yet. But the closer you get to the car in front of you, the more that you can just prepare yourself for that push next lap round. You can see how much Dennis is struggling. 23 laps in on these hard compound tires. There's surely no way that Dennis can go all the way to the end, but he's made a mistake. And look at this. Spicy's now looking for an inside line on Dan. Dan's managed to protect himself because he's got the inside for the next corner, so he lives to fight another day. This guy has 9 lives. He must be a feline because he's holding on, but Spicy is trying to capitalize on anything he can, especially when Dan is just running deep again. But Spicy cannot do it. We'll have to just sit tight for now. And Jorn's already sizing up Fragioco. Look, this is for physical race lead, despite the fact that Jorn will have net P1. Because ultimately, 22 laps on those hard compound tyres. If Fragioco does decide he has to pit, then he will have to pit. Especially if the tyres are going to blow out. He's got nothing else he can do about it. The rears are going to be really hard to navigate around this track. And this is a track that will have pretty hard tyre degradation. So Fragioco looking to defend. Jorn, though, looking to do it quickly and not mess about it all. Look at this. Mode 4, DRS, slipstream, everything is being fully thrown at Fragioco here. He's going to have to try a cutback, and I think he's absolutely going to do it. Look at the way that he's just targeted it. Fragioco almost defended. A little bit of a touch there between the two. Wasn't quite able to do what is required. I'm just curious to see how he's going to be able to maintain this as it stands. Dan also right there on the back of Spicy. Spicy's managed to do it. He's got himself up in a P4 whilst I was watching Jorn. And already Spicy, I was expecting Dan to pass Dennis. but Dennis has just driven the widest car I've ever seen. I don't think anyone's actually been able to pass him just yet. Fragioko's left the session. That's crucial. So whether or not it's just a game crash or what it is, but he's about to lose that position. As you can see, Jon coming through. So he's actually in an opportunity to attack. What that might look like, I'm not sure. But Spicy on the back of the other Ferrari driver. A little bit of tail tank slapper there. Almost lost out quite extensively. Dan has, I don't know, his tyres have definitely not disintegrated. I think he's just turned everything down. Unless he has a missing end plate on the right side. Oh, he does. I didn't notice that before. I knew he had a tank slapper, but look at that. That wing damage is what is causing his problems. And we saw a similar scenario for Beaker. That's why Beaker fell right down. He's DNF'd completely. Went into the pits and just retired. But Spicy now. This is for physical P3. He's gone for the flick. He's gone for the inside line. This is going to be really tight between the two of them. Dennis has to go defensive as much as he can. He can't do anything about it. Spicy's got the inside. Looking for the cutback is Dennis. But Spicy, with the masterclass in overtaking, just slips down the inside, giving him the flick that he can't handle. But Spicy's tyres are cooked. He lost the rear a little bit there, but luckily he has the inside for the next corner. And the only thing that can happen here is Dennis just keeps on going for it, looking for an opportunity. Spicy knows it, and that's why they're scrapping all the way through. Dennis is going around the outside, runs really deep into it, but he is ahead. He might have to give that position back because technically he overtook off the track, and that's why Spicy's coming through the inside. A little bit of contact between the two. They are going to be going side by side into the chicane. That's got to be a penalty there for Dennis. There's surely no way he can allow that to happen. But Dan's trying to capitalize on this as well. We've still got plenty of laps to go. This is not even slightly over. Dan is trying to push as quick as he can. Dennis knows that he was in trouble for that. And there's contact! Big spin! That's going the way of Dan. Dan's over towards the wall. He's trying to avoid everything he can. He just can't quite avoid it. He's lost out massively. There was just enough of a touch between Spicy and Dennis to rotate Dennis completely. Dan tried to avoid him. He just couldn't do it. And that results in Dennis falling down to P9, Dan falling down to P8, and overall, Spicy, before the stewards grab a hold of him at least, is P3. And remember, Fragioko is not in this session, so he's not going to be gaining any pace at all. Spicy will actually be slowly but surely bringing that gap further and further down. And Max now is in prime position to get himself onto a podium step. Fragioko has rejoined the session with 7.7 second gap between him and Spicy. Means there's a possibility he can hold on. He can keep himself alive in this. Jonty sets the fastest lap and is now in a P9. As you can see, Dan and Dennis, they've both pit. They've both gone onto the soft tyres. That means that Jonty, as it stands, will have 3 points to his name, getting the position points for P9 and also the fastest lap as it stands. But with those two going onto the softs, does tell me we're going to be seeing a new fastest lap set very shortly. It's just really a question now of the battle for the front runners. Jon is pretty confidently going to be taking the race win, let's be honest. No one has matched him at all in terms of pace or consistency. But that's not what we're looking at right now. We're looking at Max coming up to the back of Spicy. And we haven't seen this from Max in a long time. He's very much well known for being the bottle master, the car that hits the wall the most. Dan getting a 3-second time penalty. Not that's going to make any difference as it stands. But, you know, you have to look at Max right now and think, this kid has improved quite considerably. He's really stepped his game up enough to be able to be more consistent, not just go for the silly strategies, and that's why he's in a position to attack Spicy. Coming into the turn one, he's obviously going to go for the flake down the inside. There was no other alternative. Spicy left the door wide open for him, and Max just snatches it away. Spicy left himself vulnerable there, didn't even try to defend it. Max is having a little bit of lag issues, which is why he's in this scenario right now. Max into P3 is just enough to hold back Spicy, and Max's teammate Copy is also looking for a position on Absinthe, who's currently P5. Remember, Absinthe has penalties though, so there is still an opportunity there where he may lose more than that if that should come about. Copy doesn't actually have to pass Absinthe if he doesn't want to, but we do have to think about Spicy's scenario. If Spicy does get in trouble for the contact that he had with Dennis, not saying he will, because that's not my job to say that. But if Spicy does end up getting a penalty from the stewards for that little contact with Dennis, then Copy could potentially gain a position. He could easily slip on by and go through, and you know, if he does get past Absinthe and close in a bit more, he may benefit from the fact that Spicy has already got a penalty anyway. Because if you look at the penalty update, it stands like this. Jon has 0 seconds. Fragioko has 3 seconds. Max has 3. Spicy has 3. Absinthe has 3. Copy has 3, so he's not going to get anything. Marinella, baby, has 3. Duxie B has 3, and Dan has 3, and I think we're going to see Dennis has more than normal. Not really seeing anything there from Copy. Could have gone for an opportunity. No movements there. Still okay. But yeah, everything's sort of settling down just a touch. There's only 2 real battles that are going on. That's Mark trying to close up onto the back of Duxie B, maybe even getting a final points position, which would be a godsend for him. Here comes Copy, though, looking for an opportunity, scaring Absinthe into a mistake. Almost caused him to actually make that mistake. And Copy still P6 right now. Realistically, he's not going to gain anything. He needs to pass Absinthe physically on track, on the basis that Copy has the 3 seconds, so does Absinthe. So if he wants to get that P5 from him, he has to either make Absinthe make a mistake, or he has to be fast, coming around the final corner, get the exit of Dreams, and just bomb it down the home straight so that he doesn't lose any time. Because if he does, that's it. His entire, he can only get P6. Dennis now gets the 3 seconds. There it is. So I think that, looking at it, I think that might be his first one. I don't think Lou has any penalties. Maybe one for speeding in the pit lane, I think I saw earlier. Here we go again then. So Copy now in prime attack position. Hasn't yet got the gap down just enough, but the pace that he's chucking down is phenomenal. Absinthe knows how crucial the inside line is, and that's why he's holding it very strong, very true. But Copy on the faster tyres might be able to get a good exit out of this. He doesn't. So it will be a next lap attack unless Absinthe makes a mistake, which might be here. This is a very easy corner to make a mistake. If you run a bit deep, lose the back end just a touch, Copy could easily just slip down the inside, but he hasn't. And there's a battle forming at the back as well as Duxie B and Mark are having a battle. This is for the final points position. So if Mark can do it, he just gets a little bit touchy on the exit. Not quite got the power out of the corner that he needed. He's trying to slip down the inside of this as well, and you can see the opportunity starting to form here. Duxie B in big trouble. We saw a battle like this earlier, and Mark knows he can't do it. He can't go for it. He gets a time penalty. No, that's not what you need. That's not how you want to be in that scenario. That's his first one. He was going to gain on Duxie B anyway for the fact that Duxie B had a penalty and Mark didn't. But it's just now matched up. This means now he has to pass him in the next 3 laps. If he doesn't pass him in the next 3 laps, Mark's not getting any points. And that would be the saddest thing, considering he started P1. Really solid qualifying pace. Yeah, he was on the soft tyres, but he still had the lap time, and that's what matters. And now you're seeing Copy, again, going for another attack here on Absinthe, defending like a champion. The other thing Copy could really have done there was fake out as if he was going to the outside and then whip it down the inside, because look, this happens every time we come to this corner. Absinthe gets the inside, although this time he's a lot slower on the exit. This is an opportunity now for Copy to get down the inside. There's contact between the two of them. A little bit of a nudge there from Copy into Absinthe. Looks like he just ran deep, but Copy is ahead now. P5 is in the hands of the Renault driver, and he's not anywhere near close enough to Spicy. But if he can hold Absinthe back for 3 more laps, this is going to be crucial points for the Renault team. This is going to be an opportunity where Copy could really gain something out of this. And now 6 seconds is the gap to Spicy, unless Spicy gets a huge amount of penalties in the next couple of laps. Nothing is going to change here, but this is just exciting from start to finish. Mark is still scrapping with Duxie B. The gap has only been getting smaller and smaller. Nothing really changing other than that. Absinthe gets a penalty. That's comfort there for Copy. Big mistake there from Mark, locking the tyres up just a touch. He's still pushing though. He's not backing out of this even slightly. And Duxie B knows the pressure is on him. Is actually maintaining it quite nicely. He's actually not really made any mistakes. He's just sticking true to his lines, staying comfortable as much as possible. And that's allowing him to just keep hold of P10. Whereas you can see Mark just all over the back of him. It reminds me of the Mr. Bean episode where Mr. Bean's trying to just slip past that grandma. He can't get past her. And he's just getting frustrated. You can see him just flapping around, trying to really give it the full beans. But this is the crucial corner. 2 laps to go. DRS and ERS being fully utilised. And we're praying now to see Mark deliver something in towards turn 1. Duxie B goes defensive. He knows it. Mark cannot do anything about it. Dan's not far behind this battle as well. He's actually got the cutback. Duxie B loses out. Mark has got it, and his big wobble there from Duxie B coming out of the corner. Mark in a P10 holds the position. Is now going to get a singular point unless Duxie B can do anything about it. They are matched in terms of tyre performance. They have got nothing else they can give from that tyre other than what they're currently chucking at it. And the worry is that Dan, who is now P12 as a result of a big mistake earlier, is going to be in a position to attack, 1.5 seconds behind, and already Duxer B's dropping down the order. Jarislav, though, he's going to gain up onto Absinthe in a position where he hasn't got any penalties. Jarislav has kept it so clean, he will gain on Absinthe, and if he can push just a little bit harder, he just needs to gain 0.5 second. That's all it's going to be. Gain 0.5 second, you're gaining that position on Copy as well, and this will be Jarislav's best result all season. And already he's under attack. Look at the pace he's chucking down. He just slides on past Absinthe. Nothing Absinthe could do about it. Jarislav is really stepping his game up this race. It's the best performance I've seen from him all season. In fact, it's since I started commentating him. I don't think I've ever seen Jarislav drive this great. It's so good to see fresh performance from him, fresh face, everything's fresh about his drive today, and I just want to continue that throughout. Yonti, P9 though, 0.5 second behind, isn't quite able to really gain too much. He was in the running for getting P2 at one point, and it's just all crumbled from a few mistakes and not being able to manage the ERS, which he's still suffering from. 24% in the battery just sort of suggests how much he's struggling to properly enjoy this race. You know, you get some drivers like Jorn, for example. If we go on board with him, he's currently sat P1 with 6.2 seconds gap to Fragioko behind. Yellow flag sector 2. Who could that be? Let's have a look. It's not Dan. It's already gone, so I don't know who that was. We're not going to find out now. I mean, Dan's just got a 3-second time penalty, so that's not going to be working out. Absinthe making mistakes. Got cars coming on through. I can only assume it was Absinthe that was having problems. He's got wing damage on the left-hand side. Look, no end plate for that Red Bull, and that's an outside maneuver done for Yonti. He's up a place now, potentially going for another one. We do have the final lap started. Jorn is going to be leading us around the track to give us the beautiful race that he's definitely deserved. Started P3, gained 2 places very swiftly, didn't take any time in dawdling, and has just dominated from the word go. Not a single penalty applied to the Toro Rosso driver, and even if he gets one now, it won't make any difference. He's just done such a good job. Fragioko, who was really the surprise for me, to be honest. If you look at the position changes, he stayed P2, but he was given that position back to him by the safety car. The safety car lap 2 allowed him to come off of the softs, get onto the hards, go for the alpha strategy, which is hards to mediums, and that's why you've seen him now on the, mediums to hards, He's now on the hards now, 32 laps done on these hards. He's taken these tyres further than anyone else in this session has done. He is properly excelling my expectations and more as Jorn comes round the final corner, gives the weave of celebration, a very well-deserved 25 points for Jorn, takes the Hungarian Grand Prix as Fragioko crosses the line in P2. Max actually snatches that away from him due to penalties, and Fragioko falls even further. Spicy jumps up into P3 as a result of the penalty Fragioko got. Copy into P5. Jarislav crosses the line and gets P6, isn't able to capitalise on Copy's situation. Marinella Baby goes P7, but loses out to Yonti, who had a clean race and gets himself P7. Absinthe comes P9. Mark P10 as it stands, but has not yet crossed the line. Has he got enough to gain? He doesn't. So he does get the final points position. Duxie B gets best of the rest, with Dan will be following in P12. Dennis will eventually come across the line in just a memento, where he will be getting P13. No points on the cards for him, but still a race finish, which is important. Elude Tokyo drifting round the final corner. Is that a puncture I see? I'd be surprised if it was. No, it isn't, but it is a finish for the Alfa Romeo driver in P14. Holy, that race was just incredible. Exceptional stuff from all the drivers, but more exceptional stuff from Jorn. I think ultimately it's hard to look anywhere else when we're looking at the driver of the day. Yes, Max did go from P13 to P2, but he did get a penalty. Jorn started P3, jumped up 2 places, managed to deliver the exceptional performance in the race, and it's something I've always praised Jorn on since the start of F1 2019, is Jorn has managed to really deliver consistency, really deliver excellence, and that's why he's sat on that top step of the podium today, getting those solid 25 points with Max there in P2. Really strong results from him. P13 starting, finishes P2. Does get a penalty, but it doesn't matter because Spicy behind him also got a penalty as well and finishes P3. Fragioko started P2, falls to P4 at the end of this race, with Copy there in P5. Jarislav is in P6, and Yonti, who had a really rough one. Started P5, jumped up to P2, was battling with Yon for quite a while, and then had a big mistake. Fell down to P7, well, right the way out the points positions altogether. Had a really good recovery to bring himself back into P7. And then you have Marinella Baby in P8, Absinthe P9, Mark in P10, and Duxaby being best of the rest with Dan and Dennis and Lou. And then your DNFs were Beaker, Muttley, and Vexation. And that's it for the European Racing Series. Thank you, everybody who tuned in. We'll be back again next week where we're going to be racing around Belgium, I think. Yeah, Belgium.